Jesus. Welcome, those of you who have stayed and those of you who are in, to episode 2 of Shop Talk, right here on newsessentialsonline.com. I am your host, Ronnie Dean. To my right, Ian McPherson. To my left, the Goblin.
I am not the Cop Goblin, that is Tracy. The Cop Goblin!
Victor Goldberg, who
is not the Cop Goblin.
Is actually sort of subdued today. What'd you give him?
Apparently not enough.
Apparently not enough. We're in the midst of a lot of amazing stuff in the comic book world. Arizona Comic Con has come and gone a few weeks ago, thus kicking off the major comic book convention season. DC kind of broke a few news bits. One of the biggest ones that come out of that is that there seems to be a giant culling of books coming in May.
How many titles?
Yes, well, books, titles.
No, do you remember how many titles?
Well, I know they announced Savage Hawkman, which we'll get back to in a second. They also announced... they announced 6 after that, which was Ravagers, Fury of Firestorm, DC Universe Presents is also one, but I don't think it was in that original run, or that 6 announced. Yeah. So you got the Deathstroke, Team 7, and I want to say I Vampire is also going away, if it hasn't already. And I think there's a couple more that I can't think of right now.
Yeah.
But those are kind of the biggest ones. They're wiping that little slate clean, and they're going in without.
So the new of the original New 52, I think we're down to like the new 36.
Well, surprisingly, I think some the new 52. They got a lot of books going to be coming out this summer, like launching new. They're going to have to.
The revamped 52.
Because they have really gone against their we're going to get rid of this many and then bring this many in. Because now, I don't know, they've only announced like 3 or 4 possible books for I think 10 titles gone so far. They already have pop-up books.
Oh.
Where have you been?
Not reading the pop-up books, apparently.
Why not? They're good. They poke your eye out if you get too close to them.
I love pop-up books.
So, one of the biggest ones, one of the first ones that came out that was sort of big news, at least for me, was the cancellation of Savage Hawkman, because that was one of the original New 52 books. Mm-hmm. And so few of those books... Quit playing.
It's my giant man thing.
Oh, my lord.
That would be the first.
Oh, it's the only chance he ever had to have a giant man thing.
So small. Like a Tic Tac into a Chili's.
We got that. Why are you insulting like a third of our third? My God.
Because I'm white and Jewish.
I'm trying to keep it together. I'm trying so hard to keep it together. It's not working. You. And your Tic Tac and your cherries. One of the ones that came out of the new 52, because most of the original launch titles of the 52 are still going strong. I actually out of the ones that are being canceled, I don't know of any of them aside maybe from I Vampire and Frankenstein Age of Shade that's been kind of canceled out of this latest wave. Most of them seem to be continuing on. Yeah. But one of the ones that did get tossed was Savage Hawkman. And I'm not surprised. I don't think a lot of people were surprised that Savage Hawkman was on its way out. I mean, with all the drama that had been surrounding its creators in the past summer, 2012. And so that led to what our discussion is going to be today is Savage Hawkman had a lot of editorial issues, a lot of editorial problems, which seemed to also kind of hint that DC themselves seem to also be having a similar problem, which is editorial stuff. To kind of recap the story, what first started this whole rumor mill of editorial issues is George Perez, who took on Superman when the New 52 launched. He left after, I think, 5 or 6 issues.
Yeah, it was early.
Citing just main problems with the editorial not giving him any information because Grant Morrison is writing Action Comics, which is set 5 years in the past, and he's had no idea what was going on there, and for continuity's sake, it just enough of an issue with him that he walked. It was a big thing, but not a lot was given to it because it's just like, okay, well, this is a guy leaving. And then we get, of course, the Summer of Liefeld, where he took on Deathstroke, he took on Grifter, and he took on Savage Hawkman, and then seemingly quit and came back to the books multiple times for quitting quite vocally. In August, I want to say July or August, pretty much just running down the DC editorial department for his major issues. And of course, this last bit in December where they tossed out of nowhere. I mean, there was no warning, no nothing. They fired Gail Simone, new editor Brian something or another. I can't think of it. Brian Cunningham tossed Gail Simone off the Batgirl book, which has actually been a critical and a commercial success, with no real reason given as to why. And the backlash was so enormous that DC backpedaled after and said in 2 issues she's coming back. She's going to be the new writer for Batgirl again. And then we find out this latest batch, she's actually getting another book called The Movement.
And she was also...
And she was also in Fury of Firestorm and walked from that title too, actually. You're right. Which I think what you're going to say. Sorry.
Not a lot to work with on Firestorm.
They tried. And then the rumor now, and it seems to have been sort of confirmed by the fact that the artist is a different name in 2 issues, Keith Giffen had joined Legion of Superheroes scribe Paul, again, can't think of his name.
What do you go?
I know, oh my lord, I'm just like, ugh.
I have a teacher in front of me and I can't think of it.
I can't think. Well, the guy that he was famous for writing, working with on Legion of Superheroes during that amazing run in the 80s, Paul Levitz. See, I got to it eventually. Paul Levitz. And 2 issues later, he's gone. There's a new artist coming and everything else. No real statement from him as to why he left.
Yeah.
But again, it just seems kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And the latest thing for me on this is an interview with Scott Snyder, of all people.
Scott Snyder.
Scott Snyder, who's heading up Batman and doing gangbusters with it. It's a top 5 book.
Yeah.
In the article, he actually states, I'm expecting to get kicked off of Batman at any time. And so every story he writes is like, if I only had one more story to write, this is the story I want to write.
Yeah.
It seems like a kind of a harmless quote until you take...
In effect, all the other...
issues editorials.
Yeah.
And DC editorial actually just had a summit here in the Queen City, which was designed, I'm assuming, to kind of help ease these
issues,
pains and tensions. We don't know if they did or not, but we're going to talk about it in length when we get back from this little break here at YouTube and Channel Needless.
I got pee.